Greetings people, it's Jared here, Wolfgang1, back to do another Transformers review. Now this week I'm going to be reviewing something I reviewed about 2-3 years ago. And I thought to myself, do you know what, I'm going to get him out of my shelf now. He could do with a little bit of a dust up, he's in pretty good condition, but I thought to myself, I'd like to have another go at this now that I do the photo gallery for my page and all that sort of stuff. And this is one of the best looking figures, one of the most decent figures that I have in my collection. And considering that his age is quite remarkable. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be taking another look today at Generation 1 Slapdash. Okay, so here is Slapdash in his alternate mode. He's a Formula 1 racing car, apparently. Now, I did this guy a couple of years ago, about 2-3 years ago, and I thought I'd take another stab at him now, just because he's in a really good condition for his age. He's one of the few Transformers I had that doesn't have some sort of small defect on them. So I thought, yeah, fuck it, let's pull him out and give him another going over. Now, before I get into him, I'll just show some of the things that he came with. He would have come with an instruction booklet, which I don't have, probably a text spec decoder, who knows. One product sheet, let's bring this up a little bit, get the light out of the way. One product sheet, which shows the Power Masters and I think the Pretenders as well, and things like that. So he's, where is he? He's there, just there with his Power Master companions, and some of the lower price point figures like the second generation Target Masters, etc. So that's all very nice and good. He would have come with one yellow gun, very nondescript. It's got a bit of detail on it, but there's no other, like it's molded in yellow plastic, so there's not any discernible detail in terms of paint application, but the molding is pretty decent. He would have come with one engine block for his robot mode as well as his car mode, and there's so many different variations of the ways that you can actually have him. I'll come on to that in a little bit. And these things I didn't realize as a kid. I think I might have mentioned this in the review that I did from previously. There were so many different variations on how you could have Slapdash, and I never sussed it out that all these parts fit together because, you know, as a kid I was a wanker. We know this. So there's that. There's one spoiler for his robot mode and his alt mode, and he also comes with this, which is his Power Master companion, Lube, which is every time I say it and every time I think to myself there's a Transformer partnered with someone called Lube, it's still funny, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm a very puerile individual. And he will transform into the engine block, which unlocks the Power Master transformation. So basically the idea was that you couldn't transform the figure unless you had the Power Master companion, which is horseshit, because if you lost the Power Master companion, all you had to do was press down on the corresponding grey button just here, and that would actually release the main section of the transformation that is, in other words, locked away. Okay, so that's Slapdash in his alt mode just there, and it's decent enough. You know, the colours on this are still really bright after all these years. I've got a little bit of dirt on there that I can't get rid of. Stickers are still, you know, in decent enough nick, I suppose. Can't really complain with that. My version died when I was much younger, but this one I've taken special care not to fuck it up. And even now he is still one of my favourites in my collection. I guess because of childhood memories and things like that. But he's awesome. Now, if we want to attach all these things, then we can start by. I always thought the spoiler went on like that when I was little. It turns out it doesn't. Turn it around and it actually goes all the way over just like that. Okay. Then you can attach the engine block just here, and that gives him his standard Formula 1 racing car mode. Now I've tried seeing if I can attach Lube to the back here, and there's no way of doing it, so whatever. But for his attack mode, because obviously every Transformer needs to have an attack mode, which makes their alt mode automatically shit, you can put the gun on him like that. And I've seen worse, but I've seen a lot worse. But it's still shit. I hate attack modes. It's just awkward looking. It doesn't add anything to the aesthetic of the vehicle. That's just my personal opinion. So that's his shit attack mode. But if you want to make him the Power Master version of this mode, just before he transforms or whatever, all you've got to do is take the engine block off and attach Lube just here, head first onto the corresponding grey button just there. No, actually that's a total lie. Crutch first, just here, protruding dick onto the grey button, and his head will slot into this little thing just here. And I'll get in there. And that's his Powermaster version. Now what you can do is then attach the engine block, which is awesome. I didn't know about this when I was a kid because I was a wanker. Basically, these two holes in the back here, basically just attach the engine block to that. And that, in terms of like sort of accessory storage, that's pretty fucking decent. For a figure from this era, that is pretty decent. You can attach the gun to it if you want. I don't know why you'd possibly want to do that. It looks like shit. It looks like shit if you do it like that as well. So that's the Powermaster version of the York mode. And it's just a shame that you don't have a way of plugging lube into the back here like you do the engine block, because otherwise that would have been accessory storage to the extreme. You see what I mean? But despite that, this is still very, very tidy. It works either with the engine block here or the engine block there. It's really like decent, absolutely decent. It kind of, it makes me think they didn't need to put that much effort into a toy back in 1988, but the options are there if you want them. So I think that's pretty cool. So that's about as much as I can say for the York mode. He runs very, very nice, rolls very nicely on his plastic wheels. Would have been nice for a little bit of paint detail on the inner rims, but you know, they can take the time to do all this accessory storage, but not paint the insides of the wheels. You know, whatever. So to transform the guy, it's not difficult in the slightest. Now that we've got lube where he needs to be, take this off. Take all this off, actually. Take that off as well. And then, because lube is pushing in the button, all we need to do is just separate the car down the middle like that. Okay, that automatically gives you a head reveal. Nice head sculpt. I'll come on to it in a minute. And then we fold him out like this. So then we take the back of the car just here, and we fold those up and bring them up like this to form his shoulders. Okay, let's bring the camera up a little bit. There we go. Right, then we're going to take the front of the car and split it just like this. Bring the nose cone up and back like that. Okay, get the camera to focus, which would be fucking lovely. And then you do this sort of strange thing where you bring everything on these double hinges around like this, and then collapse the figure back into itself to create the robot mode. Now, for a figure from 1988, that right there is possibly one of the most ingenious transformations I've ever seen in my life. It's, yeah, I have points for that, basically. So then we bring the arms down like this, and then fold out the black tabs for the hands, and then same on that side. And then basically that is Slapdash in robot mode. Now we'll give him his little gun in his hand. Articulation wise, because of the way the shoulders move, that is about as much articulation as you're going to get on either side. So enjoy it while it lasts. Yeah, so there we are. That is Slapdash. Now, as I said, he's got a fantastic, let me bring the light back. He's got a fantastic head sculpt just there, right? It would have been nice if they'd have picked out the eyes in a different colour to sort of give the face a little bit of definition. But apart from that, not shitty. Not shitty at all. Colours on him, as I said, are still fantastic. Especially after all these years. There's no fading on the plastic or anything like that. The plastic is solid. I mean, it's yeah. There's a little bit of weight to this guy, weirdly enough. Now, in terms of accessory storage, we take the spoiler and we hook it into the back just here. Again, I never did any of this stuff as a kid because I was too stupid to figure it out for myself. And then the cool thing is you can either have the engine block upside down, sitting in the spoiler like that, okay, which is cool. Or if you want him as a standard robot, again, didn't know any of this. I wish I knew this as a kid because the playability, I mean, I played with this figure to death. I really did. But the playability value would have been even more so if I had just taken the time to work out the particulars. Basically, put the engine block on there and then stick lube head first underneath, stick him into this section just here. And he'll just sit there quite happily with friction. Now, if I display Slapdash, this is how I display him, because I prefer the car engine block part as the chest as opposed to Lube himself. He can sit at the back doing fuck all as far as I'm concerned. And that is Generation 1 Slapdash, ladies and gentlemen. Again, after all these years, he's still, for me, he's one of my favourites. I fucked around with this figure to the point where it literally died a very, very painful and sad death. And which is interesting, because as I said, the plastic on this is solid. It's a durable figure. I must have been a destructive little fuck when I was little. That's all I can say. But yeah, I don't even recall where I got this guy now. It was either eBay for about 45 quid complete, or it was at a con for either TF Nation or whatever for about 60 quid. Either one of those prices, and depending where I got them from, is entirely acceptable as far as I'm concerned, considering the figure is complete. There's no damage to the plastic, there's no fading to the plastic, there's no sun damage, there's no discernible cracks or friction damage or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with this at all. This is possibly one of the most pristine figures I've got in my collection, and 35 years down the line, 30 years or whatever it is, I still think this figure is fantastic. I just wish that I knew that there was a range of abilities for accessory storage, so I wouldn't have ended up losing half the parts to him that I did if I had just thought about it. If I had just been a bit smart, hell, maybe if I even read the instruction booklet, that might have gone some way to fucking helping, mightn't it? But there we are. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Generation 1 Slapdash. He is awesome, and you can tell he's a product of 1988 because these fucking shoulder pads are insane. He's definitely very much a product of his time, but that's all right. You know, sometimes I dare say that we might look at Transformers in 30 years from now, ones that came out and go, wow, they're very much a product of their time. Probably not as obvious as this, but whatever. That's Slapdash, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching this review. This is J.R. Gavin Barry, also known as Wolfgang One, saying I'm going to go and finish this cup of tea and maybe get a bit of lunch. I do hope you enjoyed this. I'll be back next week with more fun and japes along this theme or whatever. Something Transformers related. I don't know what it's going to be yet. Do leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about this figure, what you think about the video. Yeah, I'll see you all soon. Until then, take care. And when tomorrow comes, I feel you laying by me, like you ain't got nowhere else to go.